Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for a squat and deadlift day. And so today, now that I'm kind of getting in the flow with doing full squats, Olympic squats, whatever we want to call them, I guess we could just call them a back squat, right? It's just a traditional squat, high bar, no belt, going as deep as I can with a narrow stance. All right, so there's my warm up on camera, and I just did pretty much normal sets today on this. Same with my deficit deadlifts. Came in, I put 405 on the bar. I'm like, let me just go for a good triple, just try to sink it, do the best that I can there, and then do a couple back off sets and go to deficit work. And I kind of like the flow of this, and I don't think I need to do the long pauses and the stretching every workout. I feel like at this point, I'm able to just sink pretty deep. And I've noticed though my stance impacts that a lot. If I go with the narrower stance, I can get a lot more quad activation, right? Because again, I'm getting that knee angle deep. And I'm pretty much just sitting into my calves. My hamstrings are bouncing off my calves at this point. So pretty much what I would want. That triple was decently easy. Obviously, it wasn't a limit set. But again, I felt my quads light up, felt like I got a good training response. So then I backed down to, instead of 365, I went 375, right? I kind of like the flow of this. And I think maybe just building up some triples wouldn't be bad. And then doing, again, sets of around 5 afterwards. And I didn't do as many of these, although I could have. I felt like I left quite a bit in reserve, but I've also been trying to be very careful with recovery this week because, again, just noting I am doing extra squat volume, all this other stuff, and I am cutting. So I need to be careful of certain things. So just keeping an eye on it, but I do feel like I could bring my total work up on the squats. Like I could do more volume than I'm doing. But I also wanted to mess with front squats today too. And I feel like over time, if I just slowly build this up, I can definitely handle more total work. And I'm really getting into kind of a true high bar position there. Just trying to find the spot today with all these sets where I can get a full grip around the bar and still get it set into the traps, right, instead of behind the traps. So trying to find that nice, good spot there, and that's it right there. I feel like this set was good with it, getting to where I can get a full grip on the bar, finding the exact grip where I can put it on the traps and get my thumbs completely around the bar in a secure grip. But again, these sets of 5, they felt pretty good. I feel like I could have done more, but I'm like, let me get over to my deadlifting because I want to add a little bit of back off volume on the deficit pulls. Right, and so again, this workout wasn't super hard. It was a good workout, but it didn't bury me. Didn't bury me at all. Keep in mind, this isn't my only lower body work, because I am pushing my prowler 3 times a week, right? A lot of my off days I'm getting out and pushing the prowler. So deficit work, I'm like, I don't need to go crazy heavy with this. This is a really big deficit. It gives great carryover to my normal deadlift. So I'm like, let me just kind of get warmed up. Just do 5 plates, right? I think I need to go crazy here. 5 plates, just 495. Considering that this is a big deficit, right? When you start adding the lifting shoes in, this is like a 3-inch deficit. We'll call it 2.5 because of the plate, because we don't like to count shoes. But again, I still stayed in my Olympic shoes. So decent triple, obviously left reps in reserve. But just wanted a nice good set. And then I'm like, let me just drop down to 405, do a couple sets of 5. Okay. When we're getting into these sort of tensions, sets don't have to be limit sets to get a good growth response. We just need nice, challenging work sets that still reach the upper threshold muscle fibers. And I'm not trying to destroy myself, right? I'm not trying to destroy myself here. Something to keep in mind. Because I'm doing a lot of axial loading stuff, not wearing a belt, my core and everything's being worked hard. I've got quite a bit of tonnage on my spine. I'm not trying to bury myself, just make good progress moving forward. Okay. And this will get harder once I'm able to handle front squats with more weight. But I really think these need to be my staples. The reverse hyper can finish off posterior chain, helps with the recovery. putting the back in traction. And if people would say 405 is really light for you, but not really on this big of a deficit. Meaning, I felt my hamstrings, I felt my erectors, I felt my quads on every set. Not the quads as much because I'm doing the deeper squatting, but definitely feeling hamstrings, and I'm feeling my erectors on every single rep. So it's heavy enough. Now the front squats, this didn't go so good today. I wouldn't have even put this 225 in, but I'm like, I want to make sure you get a long enough log. Because this one, the grip didn't feel right. I did one rep and re-racked it. I'm like, this isn't feeling right. I need to kind of find a narrower grip. And here's what I'm going to have to do with this. I'm going to have to build front squats up. Front squats are absolutely going to have to be built up over time. And it's mainly getting that rack position. But here's the thing, because I'm doing all this high bar squatting and then I'm doing deficit deadlifts first, I'm relatively fatigued by the time I get to these. So again, quads and stuff are still getting some work that really wouldn't be real work fresh. Now this set, obviously not. But again, I'm going to have to just toughen my wrist up and keep building the shoulder mobility and everything. And all that's being hit pretty hard with this stuff. Obviously, I can't get into the position where I can get my elbows up to where I would like yet. But I think I'm going to keep playing with the grips, and I'm just going to have to toughen my wrist up to all this. And I kind of stopped here with the front squats. I'm like, that's enough. I felt quite a bit of fatigue and strain in my wrists and everything, even with just this set. So it's only 185 for 3. Only 185 for 3. So again, not as really much challenge for my lower body, but I'm going to have to get used to this. And over time, I will get there. I'm going to hit a 405 on this eventually. Got to get the wrist strong enough. And then I'm like, well, what do we get for posterior chain? I got 3 good sets of pulls, deficit pulls. Well, let me do at least just one really good set, push it as hard as I can on the reverse hyper, get some blood flow to all that area, hit the posterior chain from a second angle, right? And we should be good. And yeah, I feel like with the stuff I'm doing here, a lot of these lifts, I can just kind of build them up from here. And this will be sufficient to build everything, working off some muscle memory in the low body. But again, I don't think my low body programming has to be that intense or really that complicated. It just doesn't have to be for me. It's never had to be. I've had bigger, stronger legs and squats in the past. I feel like I can rebuild to that stuff pretty easily, right? And we're just going to work my way up, but I'm going to do it with full squats. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.